you can do it. Do it. Give it a chance. Take a shot and keep it moving. Moving. Stop giving up. Never let them take your spot. Don't let them take your spot.
Ready, Rob?
Oh my gosh, this is weird. It's so weird.
This is going to help us, Shivita. It's going to help us grow.
Yeah, okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. This is Brian Christopher of Train to Catch Planes.
Hey everybody, it's Shivita Nikita, the one and only of Train to Catch Planes.
What up, Shivita?
What's going on, Brian?
What's crack-a-lackin'?
Whole lot, man, a whole lot. It's a whole lot of good stuff, but it's a whole lot of stuff.
Good. I mean, you ready to jump on this runway?
Yep.
And take off.
Get on this plane and go.
I think you mean that literally. Since last week you told us about California, I've been paranoid since then.
Well, you know, it won't happen next week, but yeah.
You got a California hat on and everything.
Yeah.
Now you'll always be a Georgia girl.
Yeah, that's true.
This week is a special week for us. When I say us, I mean my household personally. This week we have James Tate Sr. in the building. For those who don't know who that is Corindiana, my wife. That is her father. He was a recording artist in the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s. He was the lead singer of the Deltones, and he's had major record label deals, and he's traveled the world. That was a season that passed. But right now, we're honored to be a part of the relaunch of his career. We got songs that we're going to be recording this week. We got photo shoots and video shoots and all kind of stuff set up, man. So it's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's always a good thing when you can reinvest your gifts into your parents. You know what I mean? Welcome to Train to Catch Planes. Oh, yeah. And Shivita.
Yes.
Before we move any further in this show, I wanted to make sure to take the time to thank all of our listeners.
Oh, yeah,
take
definitely.
the time to say we really, really appreciate and do not take for granted the fact that you guys are really rocking with us. You guys are really listening to the show. You guys are really interacting on the Facebook page. You guys are stopping us in hallways and grocery stores at red lights and saying, yo, Train to Catch Planes, that's my stuff. That's a blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. With that being said, let's move on into this next segment. Today we're going to talk about Keep It Simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. So, Brian, I heard this quote. Well, actually, I read this quote on Forbes, and it was like, it said that genius is the ability to reduce the complicated to the simple.
Wow.
So, taking what's complicated, making it simple.
Say that one more time for us.
Genius is the ability to reduce the complicated to the simple.
Wow, that's serious, man. It's like so many times people feel like the more complicated they are, the more genius they look.
When in actuality,
like that's saying the opposite, man.
So an acronym that I remember was KISS. Is Keep It Simple, Stupid.
Stupid?
And that was a principle noted by the...
stupid?
I mean, I ain't calling you stupid. I'm just saying keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid.
But yeah, that's a principle noted by the U.S. Navy in 1960. And basically what that principle says is the most system works best if they are kept simple rather than made complicated.
I think that's true because I was in the Air Force. And every other branch of the service, they needed really simple instructions because the Army, we all know about them. And I'm sorry, these are military jabs I'm taking right now. Air Force in the building.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Well, one thing that I heard or one thing that I know is if you have a complicated idea, if you can break it down to where a 6-year-old will understand it, then you simplified it enough to where you understand it and you can deliver it for someone else to understand it.
So one of our goals with everything we're doing is to make it simple enough for a 6-year-old to understand. And I think another idea in keeping it simple is not always reinventing the wheel, but innovating the wheel. Somebody who was really good at innovation was Steve Jobs. I know I talk about Apple a lot.
You do.
Hey, I'm working on our sponsorship.
Oh my gosh.
But one thing about Steve Jobs is he really focused on innovating through his companies. He really focused on not only innovating, but simplifying the functionality of things. Steve Jobs literally took the iPhone, and he didn't invent the cellular device, but he innovated it and then put one button on the front of it. Made it really simple to operate.
And now it's the most sought after item, period. Everybody buying Apple just because it's
man.
Apple.
Well, not just because it's Apple, but because it's innovative and it's simple and it's a culture. It's a culture.
I have a comment about that, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
But even with the Mac computer, man, it used to be kind of a learning curve on that, but he took that and he simplified that. He definitely simplified the way computers were used, even simplified the way music is distributed with iTunes.
Right.
No longer do we go to a store. He innovated music distribution. That's crazy. Keep it simple, man. You don't always have to reinvent everything that you're thinking about, every idea that you have. You don't always have to reinvent. Look at the ways to innovate. But you know what? It's such an awesome time to innovate because we're literally living in a paradigm shift. What's a paradigm shift? It's when a culture or society's thought or way of doing things completely change. So say for instance, when the car was introduced, they no longer used horses and carriages.
Right.
It was a paradigm shift in the way we transport ourselves and goods, and you know what I'm saying? That was a paradigm shift. Back to Steve Jobs and music distribution. It went from actual physical product that you bought to something that who would have ever thought about an MP3.
Right.
And now you have thousands of songs on a phone.
So it's like a full transition of a way that we do things.
Yep.
Yeah, he definitely innovated when it came to that.
Yeah.
One big thing that I know about keeping it simple, a lot of people will try to figure out the big picture and go for the big picture like right at the beginning, when the simplest thing to do is to start at start. So an example is, let's say you want it to be a international artist. You see yourself traveling the world, you see yourself doing shows, you see yourself recording and winning awards, but you're at the point in your life now where you never even recorded a song. So if you begin to see that, you can get overwhelmed because you think about every single thing that you have to do to get there, but you never even started. So at some point you have to just start it. And if you start it and continue through the process of doing it, you will ultimately get to that goal that you see. Don't allow what you see to dictate how you move, if that makes sense. Don't let it slow you down because you feel like, okay, I can never reach that, or it's going to take forever to do that. When you break it down and keep it simple, it makes it tangible.
So we're talking about consistency. One thing I heard when you said that, I hear consistency, remaining consistent through your process, and consistency brings about change.
Right. It brings your desired end.
A lot of times I think people are reluctant to start at start because they actually have a fear of keeping it simple. How can you have or why would you have a fear of keeping it simple? I think sometimes we as humans, we always want to present ourselves as accomplished. We always want to present ourselves larger than life.
Right.
We always want to present ourselves as a finished product. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of times rooted in the need for validation from others.
Right.
We put things on social media and we want to drive certain cars and we want to do this, do that to show that we're successful. And we actually fear not being validated. So I think a lot of times we despise small beginnings just because we don't want people to think less of us.
So what I'm hearing is the process can speak louder than the outcome.
Yeah.
Because people, like we mentioned on last week's show when we had our first guest, Fly Music on, one thing that she was saying is that if you start your process, that can minister to someone, that can speak to someone, and that helps them to start their process as they're watching your process. So your process becomes a reference for them.
And if you don't show that process, they never see that reference.
They never know. And people think that, oh, you can do it, but I never can get there. They never see the process. They just see the highlight.
The small steps.
Right.
The simplicity. It's important to start simple, man. It's important to keep it simple.
Right. One thing about keeping it simple is you have the ability. Well, most people sometimes can overthink things, and there is like there's a blessing and a curse with overthinking. The blessing is when you overthink, you're very detailed, so you're able to plan stuff out, you're able to get stuff done and in excellence. So that's the great thing about overthinking. But overthinking can also have a negative side. Sometimes if you overthink, you lead to questioning, can I really do this? And when you start to question it, you start to doubt.
Ooh.
And when you doubt, that stifles your creativity. You can't really move past, oh man, can I really do this?
Yeah.
So when it comes to just like we were talking about start, when it comes to overthinking, you have to realize at some point you have to shut your mind off and realize, okay, well, this is the plan and this is where I'm going to go. And then you start.
And this is where I'm going to start.
Right.
I'm going to start at the beginning.
Right.
And I'm going to take small bites of this cheeseburger until this plate is cleared. Can you tell I'm hungry?
Yep. Just should ate.
You know what's so crazy, man? One time, I actually thunked myself into a funk. I actually would think until I would sink. Yes. Why are you laughing so hard? This is the truth.
Very interesting.
No, it's the truth. Interesting. You know why? Listen to this. This is what I did one time. I think it was like the summer of 2011.
Okay.
I sat on my couch and I decided that this was the day I would come up with the master plan concerning Corindiana's music career. So I sat on this couch. I created the Corindiana plan for success. And I literally sat there and I listed every intricate detail for this career that I saw for Corindiana.
Oh,
I'm talking about everything from marketing to within marketing, flyer distribution, what was going to happen on social media, when it was going to happen, how the recording sessions were going to go, how many songs was going to be released, when it was going to be released, who were we going to collab with, management, how are we going to acquire management, what type of management plan that manager should have. So I was going to give the manager a management plan.
Because the manager, they don't know what they're doing.
I was gonna give the manager the management plan. Yeah, I would manage the manager. I would watch the chef. I would cut the onions. I would,
I need you to eat. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm still talking about food. That's crazy. Somebody bring some food down to the station, man. That would be excellent.
Yeah, so, I'm a vegetarian, so bring some vegetables.
Yeah, Shivita's a vegetarian, so she needs vegetables. But I literally sat here and I did this crazy list, man, and I did these plans and I was planning. And by the time I got to the end, I was exhausted. By the time I got to the end, you know what was in my mind? Exactly what you said. I started questioning. And as I started questioning, I started doubting. How can I do this? Because guess what? I have 4 other artists that I have to do the same thing for. So this times 4 or 3 or whatever that math is.
Oh, jeez.
I'm working on that. We're training to catch planes, even in math. So I know that to be true, man. I know that feeling of overthinking and becoming overwhelmed and wanting so badly to reach a certain pinnacle or level within your company or success or just in your personal life, maybe your marriage and, whatever it is, man. It is so important to keep it simple. It's so important to be able to have a big picture, but know how to break a picture down into simplicity. If you look at a Mona Lisa, it's a beautiful portrait in some people's eyes. I don't really like the Mona Lisa.
Oh, okay.
But in some people's eyes, the Mona Lisa is a complex painting, but it's comprised of simple strokes. So I would encourage our listeners, even though you want to create a complex masterpiece of art, keep your strokes simple. And throughout the process, you will begin to see that picture come to life.
Yeah, definitely keep the strokes simple. Now, another thing is go with what you know. And what you don't know, do the research on it. Another way of starting that start is, what do I already know I can start with? And when you do that, you at least get the ignition started. So when it's time to put something on top of that, you can go and research it and then you know how to move from there. An example is when I first began writing, I would listen to artists and try to emulate that artist, but I had to learn, I had to create my own sound. And so I just simply started writing simple words, simple sentences, and then the more and more I wrote, it became more complex. But then I started to do more research and start getting more descriptive words, more complex sentences, more of a complete thought when it came to my music.
That's good.
So I took what I already knew with the simple, and then took the time to actually educate myself and learn and research what I didn't know, and then I was able to create something bigger. So now when I write, it's an entire process. I see the music, I see what I'm trying to say, I see the video before it's done, I see how I want it arranged before it's done, and then we take it and we run with it.
Wow, that's awesome. I really think that a lot of our listeners can relate to that. Well, maybe not relate directly, but I think a lot of our listeners can take away from that with starting simple, man. Because even though you want to write a song and you want it to be a hit record,
right?
You know, you got to start somewhere, and a lot of times that's in the green eggs and hams type rhyme. Hat, back,
all right,
cat,
it wasn't green eggs
fat,
and hams, okay?
That, sack, rat, pack.
Yo, why you finding some rappers that rap like that for real?
Yo, we can't diss rappers on this show because we might have them on one day.
If you got real flow, yes.
If you got real flow, you can come to the show. Hey, I'm still rhyming, man. That's, you know, never mind. I'm not even gonna go into that. I think along those lines is something I would want our listeners to understand is everybody has something called an unfair competitive advantage on the inside of them. What is an unfair competitive advantage? It's what you do easily. You know, that unfair competitive advantage is that thing that you do well, that thing that you do naturally. Something that I've always done naturally, just growing up and just in regular life, is I've always been able to name things. Like, I've always been able to, like, look at something and give it a name.
Okay.
I always even gave people nicknames that stuck with them. Well, what the heck does that have to do with an unfair competitive advantage? Well, I found out that I was good at branding. I was good at taking something that a lot of people didn't see a lot of potential in and making it look like something, or seeing the value in it before other people could see the value in it. This show is a great example of that, because literally when we started, and we still have a huge vision for this thing, and we've come a long way, but we actually almost jumped straight into the television portion of Train to Catch Planes, which I'm really excited about, because we're gonna have some amazing guests, and we're gonna actually take you into businesses and show you how these businesses operate and how those owners became successful or became what you see today. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay.
But instead of leaping out there and starting with television, it's like, okay, well, who are these people with this show, and what are they really doing? I don't even know what Train to Catch Planes is. What is this whole T2CP thing? What is this Lifestyle and Achievement Network? What is this focus on reaching individual goals through group efforts and support? It's like, what is all this? Well, we decided to start at start. We decided to start with a radio program. We decided to master our craft. We decided to keep it simple before we took that big leap, man. So this is what you're hearing now. This is us keeping it simple, yet effective. That's awesome.
With that being said, what I want to encourage you guys to do is to just begin taking the simple steps now. Let's not wait till the new year to decide to go for our vision. Yes, I want you to dream and believe for the big thing, for the international, for the worldwide thing. But let's start at start. Let's take those simple steps now. Let's take the free steps now. Let's go and move now as if we're doing it.
Move like we have it now. We move like we got it, man. Train to Catch Planes. Don't wait for the new year. You don't have to wait till January 1st to move, man. I want to challenge all of our listeners, all of our participants, all of our pilots and co-pilots and stewardesses. I'm saying all the plane terms.
You are?
Yeah, man. Train to Catch Planes, man. I want all of us to start the new year now, man. Don't wait for January.
And not only that, meet us on the Train to Catch Plane Facebook page and let's talk about your journey. What are some steps that you're taking this week to get you closer to that picture?
Yeah.
We'll be on there. We'll share what we're doing. I know Brian Christopher is working on a lot of things with his father-in-law. Me personally, I'll be doing some new things in the studio next week. So yeah, let's definitely get on the Facebook page and share our journey with each other. And not only that, but encourage each other and push each other to keep going and to make it happen.
Meet us on the Facebook page, man.
Train to Catch Planes.
Train to Catch Planes. And remember, one thing people like us can always say is we never gave up.
That's right. All right, Brian, it's time for the song of the day.
Who we got?
I am excited to introduce this song of the day because I am a huge fan of this individual, hailing straight from Historical Entertainment Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ironic Lost Hero.
Yeah.
I'm King David, insert the Rick Ross grunt. Now they think I'm saying something but nothing much at all. I only do the unexpected. Y'all expected me to fall, I'm Ryu. Other dudes more like Caillou. Get to acting stupid, hit you with that Hadouken. Breaking ankles, highly toucan. Dropping knowledge, acting stupid. Stringing words leave you in nooses. Now your body's just a nuisance. I'm so young but so old in mind. So I'm just a kid with a grown man's grind. No money in the bank, so I can't afford to fail. Been through hell, but I'm praying to the Lord I prevail. Without a scale, with these rhymes, only time will tell, and time will tell you that it's mine. I'm just a young lost hero. Wait, man, I'm coming through. My friends were passing blunts, I was trying to pass my test. Mama's gonna kick my A if I brought home another F. Effort is what I lacked in school, always had it in rap. Early raps were fiction, now it's all fact. Fact is this black kid made lemonade when life was being stingy with the lemons. This is only my beginning, this is just my genesis. And I'm up next, something like the book of Exodus. Make way for the king of Iron Fist. Tournament with a turn of events. Actually did everything that he said, created a plan, implemented. Dudes who doubt me, biggest fans. Girls hearts will fill with regret. I am king, no game of chess. Step in my ring, you will be pinned. Tell me how I am the best. You haven't even seen that part of me yet. My mind's a labyrinth full of intricate passages. Passive kid who goes aggressive when he zaps on tracks like this. You have entered my matrix. I am the one. You Mr. Smith. Huh. I'm so young but so old in mind. So I'm just a kid with a grown man's grind. No money in the bank, so I can't afford to fail. Been through hell, but I'm praying to the Lord I prevail. Without a scale, with these rhymes, only time will tell, and time will tell you that it's mine. I'm just a young lost hero. Wait, man, I'm coming through. Grown up a bit, but my size the same. When I say I grew up a bit, I mean my mind has changed. Switching lane to lane, Chevy Cobalt cruising, we talking winning. Nowadays I'm more accustomed to it. I stopped making excuses, I started making things happen. Excuses for losers, that's what I learned from Maddie. They tried to tell me lyrically that I digress, so I pump fake, then I fake right, then I switched up and I went left. I'm so young but so old in mind. So I'm just a kid with a grown man's grind. No money in the bank, so I can't afford to fail. Been through hell, but I'm praying to the Lord I prevail.